Why does it seem like so many rich people are in great shape while many poor people are not? Are rich people just in great shape because they're rich, because they can afford a personal trainer or eat organic food, or maybe we think they have more free time? Regardless of what you might think, I would argue that it's none of those things. That while those things might be contributing factors, they are not the deciding factor. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you what I believe that deciding factor is so that you too can adopt it in your life and get into great shape. The reason I believe so many rich people are in great shape is because of one specific mindset, one specific objective they have in life: economize. Now, what does that mean? To economize means to get the maximum out of the minimum. Regardless of how much or how little you believe you have, the constant question you're asking yourself is, how can I get the most out of it? Now, I understand, and I'm not saying there aren't any rich people who are out of shape and poor people who are very healthy, but let's focus on the mindset. That's the key. And so the point that I'm making is that this mindset is more likely to be found in someone who is rich, who is wealthy. And that's one of the main reasons why they're wealthy, why they're rich. So let's talk about psychology and economizing your health. What's the psychology of a rich person when it comes to their health? A rich person looks at their health as a gift, an asset, a tool to be prioritized, optimized, and utilized. Their health is not an afterthought. They understand its importance. And so they make the investment in organic foods and personal trainers and a personal chef. But I think we get confused and we associate those things, those investments, with why they're in great shape. No, the mindset comes before the investment. That's the key, and that's the mindset of a rich person. They want to make the most of their energy and their strength, their flexibility. They want to make sure their brain is performing at its peak. They want to take care of the body that they've been given. Now let's compare that to the mindset, the psychology of a poor person when it comes to health. What are the most common things that we hear? It takes too much time and it costs too much to eat healthy. And so health basically becomes an afterthought and almost like a luxury of sorts, which is always going to be true if you believe it is. Why do I say that? Because you could go to the grocery store right now and pick up some food and meal prep some pretty solid meals, tasty meals, fairly healthy meals that will cost you about $2 to $4 each. Way cheaper than fast food, but most people don't do that. What do we do instead? The mindset is to use your money and your time to get a break, a temporary relief from the day at the expense of your health. Because watching TV and eating junk food, eating fast food are relatively cheap ways to entertain ourselves. And I understand that it's tough, especially if you have kids, but even just to yourself, to feel like you're saying no to yourself all the time. No, can't afford that. Nope, can't buy that. So pick your spots, but don't lean in and indulge endlessly. Start adopting this mindset to get the maximum out of the minimum. Things might be difficult for you right now and you might be out of shape, but start using all of your resources, all of your might to improve your situation, not hurt yourself in an attempt to tolerate it. So let's say you start adopting this mindset. What happens when you start making the most of what you have, regardless of how much you have? You get more. It's the law, the principle of sowing and reaping. Some people might call it the law of cause and effect, but regardless of what you call it, it's a fundamental law, a fundamental principle of our world. How do we know that? Well, we see that in scripture in Matthew chapter 25 with the parable of the talents. If you're not familiar with the parable, here's what happened. So there was a wealthy master who was about to head out on a journey. And before he did, he decided to leave some money, referred to as talents, with 3 of his servants. And so he's entrusting them with this money to protect it, take care of it, and hopefully grow it. And so to the first servant, he gives 5 talents. The second servant, he gives 2 talents. And the third servant, he gives 1 talent. So the master sets off on his journey. Eventually, he comes back to settle his accounts and see what the servants have done with his talents. The first servant, who got 5 talents, said, hey, I put these talents to work, made some investments, I toiled, I labored, and I got 5 more. I turned 5 into 10. And the master was well pleased. And similar thing with the second servant, who got 2 talents. He said, hey, I put these talents to work and I got 2 more. I turned 2 into 4. And the master was well pleased. But the third servant, who only got 1 talent, said, hey, I know you're a serious man. I'm a little bit frightened by you, so I didn't want anything to go wrong. So I carefully wrapped and preserved your talent. I dug a hole, I buried it. I knew you were coming back, so I dug it up. Here you go. It's ready, all set for you. And the master was very displeased. He said, you could have just taken it to the bank and at least gotten some interest on it. But no, you just let it sit there. And so he took that talent from the servant, the only talent that he had, and he gave it to the first servant, who turned 5 talents into 10. And so what is the lesson that we're supposed to gain from this parable? Yes, the parable is literally talking about money, but the overall point being is that if we're entrusted with something, God has given us something, then we have to make the most of it. We have to get the maximum out of the minimum. We have to economize. And so just like with money, I believe that we have to do the same thing with our health. Dr. Myron Golden said something recently that was so simple, but just absolutely brilliant. He said, "When I wake up in the morning, I might know how to look, but I don't know how to see. So that must mean that it's a gift." Same thing with pretty much every part of our body. I can think about wanting to ball my fist up, but I ultimately don't have control over that. It's a gift. And so I know that not everyone is as fortunate, but if you have the ability to get up and move around and walk and jump and lift things, you gotta take advantage of that. You can't just neglect it and act as if it doesn't matter. You have to make the most of it. And if you do, you will reap the fruits of it in the form of great health. So I hope you now have a good understanding of this mindset of economizing and are encouraged to put it into play in your own life. I'm highly confident that it can transform any area of your life. But if you haven't yet, I would encourage you to start with your health, and everything else will follow suit. I hope you enjoyed this video and got some value from it. If you did, please hit the like button and comment down below your response to this question. How are you going to start making the most of your health? Are you going to start walking more, drinking more water, cutting out alcohol and soda, hitting the gym more? You decide. I will see you in the next video, but until next time, stay blessed by the best. Take care.